thank you for tuning in. So with actor Jason Mitchell being removed from the show for alleged behavior, we should all expect that the Chi would have a different feel to it. And that it did. Season 3 opens up with the wedding between Kevin and Keisha's mother and her partner, Dre. Keisha is not too fond of Dre at all, and Dre is aware of that. She did get Kevin and Keisha a gift though.
I want you to both know that I'll be here for you, anything you need. So, I got y'all a little something.
Is this real gold?
Yes, sir. 24 carats. It's engraved with the longitude and latitude of our house. So no matter where you are in the world, you can always find your way home.
Now how's that for foreshadowing? We'll get back to that. Now to Brandon's funeral. Now I could be wrong, but as far as I can remember, Brandon's mom was not in season 2 at all. So it is good to see that they brought her back to speak at his funeral. The actress that plays his mother is Sonia Sohn. She was in The Wire. She's a great actress. And actually, that speech that she gave at the funeral was so believable. Very, very, very believable. So kudos to her for digging deep and delivering that moment. Now, what isn't believable to me is the fact that she did not know who Otis Perry was. I mean, he is a very, very, very popular businessman in the Chicago area, and he's running for mayor. Even her man knows who Otis Perry is.
I just came to offer my condolences. And if you ever need anything, just give me a call. I don't need shit from you.
What that slimy nigga want?
I don't know. Just get me the fuck out of here.
Mom Dukes was going off on everybody. Now, I'm also not happy with the way they treated Ronnie, because I feel like in the end of season 2, in that last episode, Ronnie and Brandon kind of squared things away and made peace with each other.
And I know exactly how you feel when you thought you found out who did it. The pain, the rage. I felt the same way when I found out about my little brother. And I ain't saying it's right, because it ain't. And every time I think about you, I wish something bad on you. But I get it.
I'm really sorry for killing your little brother.
I'll let you get back to your work.
Now that to me sounds like, listen, man, I'm not happy for that shit that you did, but I can't hold on to it forever. Gotta let it go. So I understand that Ronnie also probably wanted to let things go, and he wanted to pay his respects to Brandon. I wish maybe they would have let him into the funeral to do that. Now from there we meet Trig, who's a new character this season. Him and his girlfriend were watching Duda, aka Otis Perry, from across the street. And Trig's intentions were made very clear from the start. He wants to get custody of Jake back from Duda because Child Services took Jake when Reggie got shot. And speaking of Reg, is he dead or not? Because they showed him get shot, they showed Big Mike pick him up and run away. He was still breathing. So where is Reg? Is he dead or is he alive? What's up with Big Mike? Where is he at? Because we didn't see him this episode. Where is Reg's body? And did they have a funeral for Reg? I know this was only episode 1, so I'm most certain that those questions will be answered. Hopefully they'll be answered sooner than later, because I honestly thought that Reg survived those shots. Now, does little Kevin want to be a goody two-shoes or not? Because he corrected, or he stopped Emmett from saying the word nigga. He asked him not to say it and said that's not a word Brandon would use. But now you smoking and you drinking with your little friends at the crib. I'm pretty sure Brandon would not have been happy about that. You too young to be smoking and you too young to be drinking. So figure it out. You know Brandon wouldn't be happy with that. And I guess Jake is handling this the best he can, because he was right along with Papa and Kevin smoking and drinking. Now Jake's other big brother, Trig, is not happy with what's happening right now. So he met up with Duda.
So how much is my little bro worth? Whole lot. Don't worry.
She did the right thing.
No, the right thing would have been to call me.
Oh, I offered. But, Jake said you were dead.
Well, I guess this is the resurrection.
Whoa. I haven't seen anybody talk to Duda like that. Trig want that smoke. You better hope he don't get smoked, because he did some bullshit later, and we gonna get to that too. But I guess Trig's gonna be the new antagonist for Duda. We gonna see how that works out for him, because the last two didn't work out too well. Now, Duda, a.k.a. Otis Perry's slick ass, offered Jake's mom's $5K to have custody of him. And of course, that was more than enough, more than what she would need because of her addiction to actually go through with giving custody of Jake to Duda. But now Trig is back in town, and he's offering Mom Dukes $10K to go down to the courthouse and get custody of Jake back. Now, that's all good and great, but I do not think that Otis is gonna take kindly to that at all. Ain't no way. Jake is way more valuable than just 10K. I mean, at this young of an age, Duda can have Jake doing so much that by the time he is of the right age, you know, early to mid-20s, he'll be right in shape with what Duda wants him to be. And that's just a menace on the fucking streets, doing anything and everything that he tells him to do. And Trig is doing his best to see that that does not happen. He is stepping on the gas full throttle. Him and his girl set up a jukes to rob the runner for Perry's Pizza. Took the bag of money from him and took off. Now, we don't know much about Trig except that he's been locked up for about 8 years. But we do know how Duda gets down. If Duda finds out that Trig stole that money, it's going to be hell to pay. Now, as I said in the previous episode about the Chi, a recurring underlining theme in this show is bad decision making. That was a bad decision by Trig to rob Perry's peoples. You do not mess with Duda, and you do not mess with his people. Bad decision on Trig's part, but we'll see how he handles it. Now to the cliffhanger that we were all left holding on to. Keisha was at the bus stop texting her man, who was probably also an older man. Now, she told Emmett that she no longer talks to that track teacher, but I'm pretty sure she didn't go from the older track teacher to a young dude her own age. Whoever this guy is, he's probably too old for her, but we haven't found out who he is quite yet. But she's at the bus stop, texting away, and Ronnie, with his drunk ass, stumbles by and stares at her. He makes Keisha very, very uncomfortable. She tries to cover up with a little bit of clothes that she's wearing and go back to texting. Ronnie stumbles his drunk ass away, and then the bus pulls up, and Keisha's nowhere to be found. Now, Ronnie already got a bad reputation in the hood.
Yeah, I don't care what nobody say about you, Ronnie. You all right with me, bro?
What'd they say?
Man, you know.
What'd they say about me?
You know how niggas in these streets talk, man. Folks always gonna have something to say.
At some point, folks need to move on. Let me live my life.
You took a life, man. Some people ain't gonna never let you live that shit down. It's gonna follow you around the rest of your life, whether you like it or not. But you can't be worried about what people think about you. You just gotta do more good in the world, man.
You just need to balance that shit out, bro.
Now, that last part right there, you just got to do more good in the world. You just got to balance that shit out. That seemed to stick in his head, hopefully. I hope that Ron is not behind Keisha being kidnapped. I mean, he did seem like he was going on the right track. He did fall off the wagon by starting to drink again. But besides that, he didn't seem like he was on some bullshit like kidnapping a little girl. He better not be behind this shit. I do know that it was broad daylight when Ronnie left that bar. He need to take his ass back to them AA meetings and get himself straight. Now back to Keisha. Going out that late at night, sitting at a bus stop by yourself, dressed the way she was dressed, in Chicago, was poor decision making. That is going to be a theme throughout this season, I'm telling you. Bad or good decision making. Bad decision making on your part, Keisha. You got to pay more attention to what's going on in the world right now. You should not have left the crib that late going anywhere by yourself. Young black women being kidnapped and used for sex trafficking is a serious situation that's happening in the world right now. In fact, Literally, as I'm recording this, I just came across a notification that two black young little girls, 15 and 13, were just found by civilians in Milwaukee because the Milwaukee police refused to put out an Amber Alert for them once they went missing. The civilians had to go and handle business themselves, and they found out exactly where these little girls were at and went in there and got them. And that's real life shit. So kudos and a salute to those civilians in Milwaukee that did what they had to do to make sure those girls got home safely. And I feel like the Chi will tackle this topic. So I want to give a shout out to the creator of the Chi, Lana Waithe, and her writers for putting this into the storyline. Now do remember, as I alluded to earlier, that Dre did give Keisha a necklace with the longitude and latitude of their home because, as she said,
So no matter where you are in the world, you can always find your way home.
I do predict, just like those two girls in real life in Milwaukee were found and returned home, I do believe Keisha will be found unharmed and returned home. And that wraps up this episode of the recap and reaction to episode 1, season 3 of The Chi. Thank you for listening. Talk to you next time. Peace out.